Almost 15 years ago, when the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, was released, Republicans jumped up and down, screaming that the government would set up panels to decide who deserved health care and who did not. They referred to these panels as death panels. There would be a group of unelected officials whose sole job was to determine who deserved care and who did not. This is still something that we hear regularly. I talk to people who still believe that this is going to happen because of the Affordable Care Act, because of Obamacare. Even the last few days, the former president and current contender for U.S. Republican nominee, Donald Trump, is talking about needing to take down the Affordable Care Act and remove it from the United States, with no intention of replacing it, just getting rid of it. The fear of death panels still continues among conservatives. The unforeseen boogeyman that hides in the shadows waiting to pounce. What would they do if they had to go to the hospital and care was rationed? What would they do if someone told them that they weren't allowed to get the care that they needed? Of course, as time went on, there was no death panels with the Affordable Care Act. This is historical fact. You can look it up. The shadowy men in dark robes never once appeared to declare to the poor that they were unworthy of health care. The Democrat-championed ACA removed roadblocks to insurance, such as pre-existing conditions. Now, this is not to say that it was perfect, because it wasn't by any means. It still needs fixed. Healthcare costs continue to skyrocket in the United States due to the ongoing gouging of insurance company and the medical industry, big pharmaceutical industry. Big pharma are more concerned with profits and shareholders than actually helping people. Oftentimes, they make more money off of treating a disease rather than preventing it or curing it. The American healthcare industry is just that. It's an industry. It is a for-profit industry. It's a part of capitalism, and it's part of the never-ending grind that just continues to destroy us day after day. That said, it is a far cry from death panels. Enter the Supreme Court. In 2022, conservatives were finally able to buy enough Supreme Court seats to have Roe v. Wade overturned. A ruling that had been tested for over and over again for the past 50 years and longer was tossed aside on ideological basis rather than one based on solid legal doctrine. Not only this, but medical privacy was completely stripped away, all in one fell swoop. Women lost bodily autonomy, and the course of the United States was altered. And then death panels began. It was not due to the ACA. It was not due to Obamacare. It was due to Republicans banning abortion. States like Texas banned abortion. They passed almost outright bans. They listed exceptions, but it resulted in clinics and everything else being closed. The Supreme Court of Texas just ruled that a doctor's opinion is not enough to justify an exception to their extreme medical ban on abortion in the state. They said that the doctor needs to prove that the procedure is required, not just have an opinion on it. This is a quote. The High Court, whose 9 justices are all Republican, said in its unsigned opinion that a good faith belief by Damla Carson, a doctor who sought to perform the abortion and sued alongside Kate Cox, that the procedure was medically necessary was not enough to qualify for the state's exemption. Instead, the court states, Carson would need to determine in her reasonable medical judgment that Cox had a life-threatening condition and that an abortion was necessary to prevent her death or impairment of major bodily function. That's from a Reuters article. The opinion of the doctor is not enough. They need to prove it. In order for the mother of 2 to have the medically necessary and life-saving procedure, she needs to prove to the state that her life is in danger. And we have an attorney general in Texas who is threatening her with felony charges if she goes through with the procedure. And now you have a court asking for proof. While in the same opinion, stating that a court order is not necessary to obtain an abortion. This is what a death panel looks like. It's a group of people deciding who does and does not deserve health care. And all of this is in the name of being pro-life.